Hello friends, and welcome back or to Words and Bunny, a crazy space to talk about books. Welcome to the full moon read-a-thon. It is officially started. This is a read-a-thon hosted by Jan Agathon, in which you basically read to collect different characters. You have 4 different characters and then a bunch of prompts under each. 2 of them are reading based, 1 of them is activity based. And I don't think the point is to get them all, but that's gonna try and be my plan. And yeah, just see how I go on with it. So I'm actually going to be starting off with the Grim Reaper character. The prompt one is a weapon, in which is a 400-page plus book, but I'm going to be starting with prompt 2, in which involves death. So your book has to involve death, and for that I'm picking up The Murder of Roderick Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. This is my final Agatha Christie I have on my own TBR, which I'm so nervous to read. I've been postponing it because I don't want to not have any Agatha Christie on my TBR. In case you weren't aware, I'm currently doing a challenge where I'm trying to get through all of my own physically TBR books. However, I can say that in a constructive sentence. And to do so, I have a tracker whereby each book I read it down, and then when I hit 20 books, I'm then entitled to buy one to add it into my collection. So I get the Christie on my own TBR, and this is going to be the first book I'm going to plan to read for the Grim Reaper character and for prompt 2. Prompt 3 of the Grim Reaper is an activity, in which is be dead for a while. I'm going to be taking a nap for that. So yeah, let's get to it. And I hope you enjoy it. So grab yourself your most hot drink, a cozy blanket, and let's celebrate the full moon doing a read-a-thon. Oh my goodness me, I just finished The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and I think this might be one of my all-time favourite Agatha Christie's, because what was that? I was so shocked. The ending, it literally had my jaw on the floor. I can't believe it. I can't believe what I just read. I wasn't anticipating any of that. I don't know what to say. Wow, this is so good. I definitely think if you like And Then There Were None, then this could definitely be a favourite Agatha Christie for you. I 100% recommend it. I feel it's definitely like one of the most clever ways in which she's done a book. I was so shocked. I cannot wait to reread this one and pick up all of the clues. Wow, it was so amazing. Like, one of my favourites of all time for certain. But I'm also so sad now because that's my last Agatha Christie I have on my owned TBR shelf left to read. So, oh, I have The Secret of Chimneys, I think it's called, but I don't think that's a detective one. I think I'm not quite sure what that one is. I think it's like to do with a play. I'm not quite sure. So yeah, that's my first book finished for the full moon readathon so far, and I highly recommend. So good. So I'm gonna now complete my tracker, log that on there, log it on Storygraph, remove it from my own TBR online database, and then pick out my next read, in which I think it has to be a 400 plus page book. And then I'll just go for a nap, and then I've collected my first character, which is the Grim Reaper, I think. So yeah, I'm gonna go and do that now, but highly recommend. Hello friends, so excuse my appearance, I have basically just literally woken up. I'm now sat on the sofa with my breakfast, as you would have seen, and I've just put on my ambience kind of like room thing that I use to read with. It just kind of sets a nice tone. Anyway, so I finished, I think I told you about Murder Roger Ackroyd, and then I also just finished Bookshops and Bone Dust. I have some thoughts about that one. At the beginning, I wasn't quite interested by the fact that it was a prequel, but I loved Legends and Lattes so much. The low stakes, the coziness, but yeah, there was a little bit of action in there. Just the kind of surroundings and the atmosphere that was created as well. But yeah, so I wasn't 100% certain I was going to enjoy Bookshops and Bone Dust because it was a prequel, but I actually ended up really liking it. I found that in some parts I was just getting a bit annoyed. Like, there was this one character calling everyone Hon, and that was really annoying. But once you kind of like saw past that and kind of like saw past like a few different elements in it, it was just a nice cozy time. I loved the fact that books were kind of at the forefront of it, and that there was some action and adventure in there, that it was set in like a small kind of town. And my favourite thing about this book was the epilogue, and I wrote like a little comment in my book saying this epilogue is what made this book so perfect to tie in with Legends and Lattes, because the epilogue then took place after Legends and Lattes, I believe, in which it then kind of was like a full circle moment to bind the two stories together. And yeah, that already made my heart happy, so I was very happy about that. There are a few quotes in there that I underlined because either they had meaning in terms of like personal things, or they were like book quotes, like quotes about books. And yeah, so I highly recommend it if that sounds interesting to you. If you enjoy Legends and Lattes, you kind of like want to dive a bit deeper into the background of things, you like books, then I think you would enjoy this book. I foresee no reason why not. So yeah, anyway, I think next I'm going to go with a book that's been on my TBR for a year plus. Which character is that? Is that the Grim Reaper? And then I would have collected all the Grim Reapers apart from taking a nap, which I can do fairly easily. And I think I'm going to go with Leave the World Behind, because I've had this for quite a few years on my TBR. I just don't know what to read at the minute. I just really don't know what to read. So yeah, perhaps I might read this one. But yeah, I'm going to have my breakfast, listen to the ambience, and get to reading, and I'll update you once I have another update. Okay, so I have been sat here trying to read Leave the World Behind, and it's just not pulling me in. I'm not gelling with it. I'm currently reading a chapter from Open When by Dr. Julie Smith, and it's basically this like toolkit for different scenarios that you flick to when you need help. So like there's all these different like scenarios in here for you to just open up the chapter when you need to, and you just read them, digest them, sip them. And this is inspiring me to stop being so rigid and hard on myself with this whole reading challenge. I feared this would happen when I set it out, and I think the one thing with just focusing on my TBR, not buying any books, just waiting until I reach 20, is the guilt and the lack of fun that I'm finding with reading. I feel like my biggest kind of joy of just being excited about books because I'm excited about books rather than just making them part of a to-do list is missing. And so yeah, I feel as though I was in a really bad space because I saw all of the discourse going around about overconsumption like with books, and it just made me feel so guilty, and I felt bad. Like I felt like I was doing something inherently wrong because I had a lot of unread books sat on my shelf, when actually that's all I've ever dreamed of. All I've ever dreamed of is to have a ton of books, own a ton of books, and like be able to just, I'm really feeling in the mood to return to this book today and reread a book or a chapter from a book that I really loved like years ago, or like I'm really in the mood for a reread today, so I'm going to reread some of my already read books, but also just have books that I'm excited about for different seasons of my life, because I'm never going to be in the season of my life where every single book rings true, and I feel like to try and force myself into that, it's just not working for me. So I don't know if I'm going to scrap the whole kind of 20 books, read 20 books, buy one altogether, but I know for today I'm going to go get dressed, get out of this rut something that I'm in, walk over to the charity shop and peruse the shelves. If I walk out with nothing because they don't have anything, fine, but I just want to go and I want to see, and I want to do it guilt-free, because why am I doing this to myself just because of what people online are saying? I've just pushed myself into a corner, like backed myself into a corner with this whole kind of overconsumption discourse, and like focused too much on the numbers and made my whole reading life like a to-do list, when actual fact this is how my books have always been, like right from, obviously not when I started reading, because I started reading when I was like 4 or 5, but when I properly started book collecting, when I had my own pocket money at like 12, 13, I'd say, I've always had unread books on my shelf because it would feel a bit strange not to. Like, for example, this book, I'm never going to sit and read it front to back in its whole entirety because that's not the purpose of this book. And I know a lot of fiction books, that is the purpose of that book. But quite often, it's like I'm feeling a chapter of it, like this one, just isn't for me at the minute. So I'm going to put it down and then might pick it up again in the future. Anyway, long ramble to say, I'm going to head to the charity shop and just see how I get on. And yeah, I'll take you along with me. Hello, so I am now home. I have been for a little bit of time, and I have a little bit of a book haul of books I picked up at the charity shop. Starting off with the cookbook, Deliciously Ella. If you didn't know, I don't necessarily eat vegan, just because I don't like to be restrictive with my diet, because I have quite a high dairy intolerance. I just cannot really handle dairy at all, even though sometimes I do eat it and I pay for it. But a lot of the cookbooks I do pick up are vegan cookbooks, purely just because I know that they won't include dairy in the recipes and I don't have to start worrying about substituting things. And you know, sometimes it is just good to eat vegan and try to get more veggies in, etc. So I was flicking through this one at the charity shop and it had quite a good few recipes in which looked relatively easy, had relatively low amount of ingredients and looked yummy, in which are my kind of 3 criteria for a good cookbook that I will actually use. So yeah, very excited to add this one to my collection. I also love the cookbooks by Emily English. I've only got So Good, but I know that she's recently released another, which is Live to Eat, I think, which I really want, but that's not a vegan one, so I do have to be careful when picking out recipes and have to think about how I'm going to substitute the dairy element of it. And then I picked up 2 fiction novels. First of all is Brotherless Night, which was the 2024 Women's Prize for Fiction winner. I've heard really good things about, and it sounds really interesting, so I picked this one up. I also picked up The Handmaid's Tale. Never read it, never watched it. Own the second book because I picked it up for cheap in a charity shop, and now the first one has arrived. It appeared in the charity shop, so I'm very excited to get to this one and then also read the sequel. But yeah, intrigued to see if this is my cup of tea. And then I saw Murder by the Book, in which I think is a fiction book, but I'm actually questioning myself that it's a non-fiction, because the reason is it's on about like that there's like the whole of London is involved in this murder that happens to this person's like elderly master, and people like Charles Dickens get involved, and like several key literary figures of the day were drawn into the controversy. And I can't figure out if this is non-fiction. I think it is, because it has an introduction and it's on about what was going on. So perhaps it is non-fiction. I'm going to have to research this. But either way, it sounds really interesting. And yeah, basically like it was a murder that happened in 1840. It was bringing together much previously unpublished material from a wide range of sources. Claire Harmon reveals the story of the notorious Russell murder case in its fascinating connections with the writers of literary culture of the day. Gripping and eye-opening, Murder by the Book is the untold true story of a surprisingly literary crime. So, just sounds really interesting. So, I'm very excited to get to that one as well. So that's my little book haul. And yeah, I'm gonna see what I want to pick up next. Maybe it will be this one, because it's got to have like a creepy prompt or something to do with this. Yeah, I'm not sure. I will update you when I next have an update. For my book for 400 plus pages, I'm deciding to go with Sad Girl Hours, which is out in September, I want to say. This has autistic representation from the main character, and I believe our other main character has SAD disorder, in which is seasonal affective disorder. So it wouldn't be SAD disorder, it'd just be SAD. And basically it's a sapphic romance between them two coming together. An autistic autumn lover showing a SAD sufferer what it is to fall in love with autumn and perhaps fall in love with one another along the way. So I am enjoying this one so much so far. I'm only 24 pages through, loving our main narrator now, because she is the autistic character, and everything she's saying just resonates so much. And yeah, I'm loving the setup and I'm just excited to continue reading it. So gonna get back to it and then I'll keep you updated. I didn't realise that our autistic main character also has a chronic illness. I'm sorry, is this literally me? I am loving the representation so much. It's so cool to see. update on Sad Girl Hours. So I am now 288 pages through, so we've only got a little bit left to go, and adoring it. Honestly, absolutely adoring it. I have never felt so seen or represented in a book before, and it's truly such a wonderful feeling. It feels so joyous. It's such a joyous thing to read, and I genuinely think that if you like the themes or you like the descriptions I've mentioned previously about this book, then you would enjoy this book. It's just so easy to read. It's so easy to get in the characters' heads and delve into their feelings. I feel as though they're so transparent on paper, yet it has the complexity of human nature in there, with the not wanting to disturb anyone, the anxiety of disrupting what you people perceive about you. And yeah, I'm having so much fun with it. I'm honestly having so much fun. And the fact that I'm just in my head, these characters exist. Like when our main character Nell is writing her poetry to submit as an assignment, I actually caught myself off guard last night when I was reading it, because I was like, oh yeah, that's like a really good poem. I wonder what marks she'll get on that. And I have to remember, like, no, these are fictional characters. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to continue reading, and I will let you know my final thoughts. Unless something drastic happens, I feel like this one is going to become a favourite and go on my favourite shelf once I get a favourite shelf. I'm doing a home library renovation, which I'm going to be recording a video for. It's going to be a long process, but part of that plan is to get a shelf in which holds all of my favourite books. So when people visit, or like when anyone ever asks me what my favourite book is, I can just send them a picture of my favourite shelf. And also it can be a space of joy, because I can just go to that shelf and just feel that giddy, excited feeling. So anyway, back to reading. I finished Sad Girl Hours, and this is definitely a favourite of all time. It is so good. I honestly adored this one so very much. I loved the complexity of our characters in here, the diversity, the representation of so many different things were woven into this book. I just thought it was superb. It was so easy to read, so digestible, like so realistic, but still so heartwarming and really cozy. And yeah, I just had so much fun with it. I also just finished my pumpkin spice chai latte that I got in the post with this, because this is an arc and I think it comes out in September. And I love this as well. This has definitely been inspiring. It was definitely, I felt so seen, like, again, like I say, with autumn being my favourite season already, just seeing the admiration and the adoring nature that our main character had for autumn, and then the comparison of that was really interesting to read about. And yeah, I just had so much fun with it, so I highly recommend this one. And yeah, that brings me to the end of this video. I had so much fun participating in this full moon readathon. I only collected one character, and it is actually the 19th today, so technically it doesn't end until tomorrow. But I want to end it early, just because none of the other prompts are quite working for me at the minute with the moods that I'm in, and I just don't want to force myself to read, like especially with the video I uploaded about TBRs and forced myself to read and making reading a challenge. And I think I filmed like a little bit of a clip earlier on explaining my thoughts before I then went and filmed that video. So yeah, that's what I've decided to do. So I'm going to end this video here, and I think next up I'm going to read some books that I'm very excited about. So I will see you in the next video. Leave me a little autumnal emoji down in the comments below if you made it to the end of this video, and I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you have a wonderful day or night. Until next time, friends. Bye.